he's a keen speaker, and he's delivered lots of lectures across different London universities. So, just to Wajid.
Yeah, I could do I could mention a few things about Bima. I'll keep it short, inshallah, guys. I'll mention Bima briefly. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can you all hear me? It's because I talk too loud, sorry. So just a little bit about BIMA, the British Islamic Medical Association. Basically, 3 or 4 years ago, if the government wanted to speak to Muslim medics, who would they speak to? No one, whoever they could get their hands on. If medics, PCTs, CCGs, any acronym that you can think of wanted to get an opinion of what Muslim medics did, who did they speak to? Whoever they came across. If Muslim medics in Newcastle had a brilliant idea about how to get past the fact that the nasal flu jab that they're giving 2-year-olds has porcine elements in it, and they managed to get around it, who would they tell it to so it could get across to the rest of the country? No one. If we have, mashallah, amazing Muslim medical and surgical specialists who have brilliant ideas and information they want to pass on to people, who will they pass it on to? The people they meet, people who are lucky enough to get to know them or who happen to pass their field of view. But how could that information be transferred everywhere? It won't. Until you unite together. Until we all start working together and we say, hang on, this is ridiculous. Why can everyone unite except us? So that's why the British Islamic Medical Association came about, because a group of brothers and sisters said, that's not acceptable, we should work together, and when we work together, we can start sharing best practice, we can start being more professional, we can start truly representing Muslim medics and healthcare professionals, and we can start doing more for the community, both the Muslim medical community, the Muslim community, and the community in general, Muslims and non-Muslims in total. That's what BIMA is about. And yeah, join the fun. It's 3 years in. There are many, many projects. There's something for anyone who's interested. But the main thing is, this is the future of Muslim medics in the UK, without a shadow of doubt. And it will start changing things in this country. It already has, and it will continue to do so. So don't be a spectator, get on the pitch with it. Sister Mario was going to say something about the national conference?
Assalamu alaikum everyone. So I just wanted to talk a bit about the first national and international conference that BIMA is holding at King's College on the 18th and 19th of March. It's basically the first medical and Islamic conference combined. We've got a great variety of speakers coming, and even though a lot of it is aimed at doctors and healthcare professionals, we need students, the majority of which are here today, to sort of be the backbone. So the purpose of today was to sort of get you to think about coming, because you can volunteer at the conference and get half-price tickets for just 4 hours of volunteering over the 2 days. And there's limited spaces, and what you get out of it is something that you can put on your CV. You get to be in the midst of experts in their field, and you can also gain a lot of valuable experience and get your foot in the door to working with BIMA. There's also an aspect of poster presentation, which is on the theme of promoting healthy living. The deadline is the 1st of February, and I would really encourage anyone who's never submitted a poster presentation before, who wants to do that, to sort of get started, as it'll be the first time. There's no expectations, so really the people who will be setting the bar. Thank you. If you've got any information, I'm around to talk to you afterwards, and you can also find out more information on the British Islamic Medical Association website and also on the Facebook page.
Just to put that into context, it makes a big difference if you have presented a poster or a paper at a national conference. This is a national conference, guys. Don't, like I said, I don't have to, make a flow chart that will make you guys work out that this is something that's useful for your careers. And this is the first proper, full Islamic Medical Association conference. It's got the former head of the Royal College of General Practice coming. It's got a representative from the GMC coming. They've got high-profile speakers who have taken their time out to come and engage with us. And inshallah, I think it will be something quite valuable for you to get involved in and attend. So, just to finish off the evening, more than just a medic. Imagine a goat herder or a rickshaw driver in India or Pakistan, and it's a day of judgment. Everyone's lined up, and this rickshaw driver is asked, and you're just a little bit further away, and they're asked, so, what did you spend your time on? And the rickshaw driver says, I earned money, I worked, during the day I worked, I earned money for my family, I looked after them, I prayed, I was a good person. And your answer was exactly the same. What did you spend your time on? I had my family, I earned money, I got a job, I went home, I went to the mosque and prayed. What did you spend your money on? Rickshaw driver, spent on my family, I didn't have a lot left over, so whatever little I had, I might have given it to my relatives who didn't have enough money. I gave it to poor people when I could, but a lot of time there wasn't a lot left over. Same question to you. What did you spend your money on? There was GMC subscriptions, MDU, I spent it on my family. There wasn't a huge amount left over, but what was left over I gave in charity. Okay, what did you use your time and energy for, your intellect? Rickshaw driver, don't know how much intellect I didn't go to school, didn't have money to go to school, I was working since I was young, don't have the luxury of internet and learning about things. Whatever little information I had, someone told me that this is Islam, I learned it, I did it. Someone told me this is good, I did it. I did what I could. Same with you. What did you do with your time and intellect? I got a degree, I went to university, I was the top of my class, obviously I did well in A-levels, I got into university, I got out of university, I did postgraduate degrees. And at the end of all these discussions, both you and the rickshaw driver both go to Jannah. Is that justice? Is that just? At the end of this interrogation, the rickshaw driver who didn't go to school, who didn't have an education, who didn't have a lot of money, who didn't have a lot of, a lot that he could do, or a lot of networks, who couldn't go on holidays, who didn't have WhatsApp networks or anything, and you, who has every single one of those things, end up going to the same place. Is that justice? No, that's not justice. And we know for certain that one thing that will have the day of judgment is justice. Every tyrant will get his just deserts. Every wrong person will get his retribution on that day. So how is it fair? How do we expect that we, with all our privileges, with everything that we have, will waltz into Jannah the same as everyone else? This is the reason that the Prophet ﷺ said that Jannah is full of the poor. So, the question is, why should you be, that's the most important question, why should you be more than just a medic? because, as Uncle Ben said, it took me a while to realize I was quoting Uncle Ben until someone told me. As Uncle Ben said to Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. You'll never see Uncle Ben ever referenced in the Islamic topic. And yeah, my story is pretty boring. Like I said, I'm a GP, so I don't have any interesting stories about how I saved lives. Basically, make tea, get it just the right temperature, and if someone's disturbing you too much or creating trouble, you send them to the medics or the surgeons, and keep and try to make sure your car parking space is as close to the door as possible so you can escape. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, there's not much. So the most important question was why? Why should you be more than just a medic? Because of every single thing that you have, every ability that you have, that others have not been given. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us intellect. And we've used it, we've shown it, we've proven it. It's not even just a theoretical, you know what, I'm not so smart. Even the not so smart medical students, even the dumbest guy in medical school is smarter than your average person. Is thinking on a different level. Has a different set of skills. Let me show you some of the skills. Which career has the following? Practical skills. You have to be good with your hands in medicine or surgery. Whether you're injecting something or you're carrying out surgery or carrying out an examination and being able to tell that's a mass, that shouldn't be there, that should be there. We've got to be good with your hands. We've got practical skills. What other career do you have to have communication skills? Not just, we get bored when they teach us at medical school communication skills. But when you think about it, what they teach us is something amazing. A medic is able to speak to someone. 1 second you're speaking to a professor of neurosurgery, explaining to him that that he has brain hemorrhage. The next patient could be somebody who's barely literate. And we can switch. Nobody else does that. There is no other career which they can switch 1 second to another from 5th gear to 1st gear at the drop of a hat, where you can take complex information that is taking you 5 years to study, to put together, and then turn it into jargon-free words so that somebody else can understand and make an informed decision. Probably the most important decision of their life. Where someone is going through an absolute car crash of time, of a time where they're having the worst time of their life, and you're able to break bad news to them. You're able to comfort them. You have those skills. You're being taught those skills. Prioritization. The ability to look at your SJTs. I don't know how many of you have done SJTs, right? But they ask those crazy questions. You are a house officer, you walked onto a ward, and your on-call bleep is going. The nurse says that your consultant has just called you, and he said he wants to speak to you now. A patient has just arrested in the corner, and someone's just about to commit suicide. Which would you do in which order? And your flight is about to leave on your holiday, and if you don't catch it, then you don't get any more holidays. Which would you do in which order? Nobody else would do that. Everyone's just thrown that away, so that doesn't happen. In medicine, this happens, right? Not exactly that situation, but unless you work at Queen's Hospital, please don't. But this happens. You do have to make those decisions. You have to be the person that says, I actually have 10 important things to do, and I have to prioritize them on a daily basis. Which other career can you go from being a team leader to a team player in a drop of a hat? Let me tell you something awesome that happens, right? And this is where I ask you, keep your minds open. If you're an A&E, or if you're on the on-call team, and the crash call goes in recess, something without any discussion, without even knowing everyone in the room, in an instant, there's like 10 people around a patient, and everyone knows exactly what they're doing. Everyone knows exactly what they're doing. They know, right, you do this, you do that, and they get on with it. That doesn't happen anywhere else. You might be the most, you know what we call consultant house officers? Everyone knows a consultant house officer, right? The guy at the house officer that walks around with a fountain pen and drives a Mercedes and is, thinks he's someone special. You might be the most arrogant person on the planet, but when you turn up to there, you will never stand at the head of the bed. You know your place. Everyone becomes a team player in a crash course, and everyone works together, and no one will go, it's my lunch break, what's your madhab? You could even turn up the leopard skin hijab and no one would say anything. They might afterwards and put it in the notes, what's going on here, but this doesn't happen anywhere else. This doesn't happen anywhere else in any other profession that instantaneously. They have to be trained, they have to work, maybe the military, and they have to be beaten into it, but in medicine we do it all the time. We're decisive under pressure. Do we do this or do we do that? Do we call it or do we not? Do we shock or do we not? And this is a career that has international links. Medics across the world work together. They didn't discover the cure for a disease off in America and they just kept it themselves and we never heard about it. Astaghfirullah, we never heard about it. Why didn't you guys tell us? It goes, it travels. The information goes and it travels. And people go to symposiums and they go to conferences and they share best practice and they read journals and they try to, they argue, what percentage decrease does this drug cause and does it cause that side effect? And they have ethical debates. Innovation and development all the time. Medicine is just expanding at such a fast rate. We're all every one of us, we're encouraged to do research. Then what other again, there's no other job that will transform. Literally from the day I started medical school, by the time I finished, there were new diseases and there were new cures for those diseases. It changes. If you're at the game is still changing. This is an amazing career that you have. And what in the world are you doing with it? What are you doing with it? Are you just going to be a doctor? My God, that is just such a waste of talent. Any single company will pay you big bucks to ditch your career and go work for them because they know what you have. They know that they have to train people, they have to beat people, they have to incentivize people to do this, and they're like, these guys do it for peanuts as well. And then they get abused in the press and they still come back every day. And then we say, do it a couple of nights, and we do it. And we're like, oh, I feel bad for that patient. Do you think anyone ever was like, any banker was sitting there going, I feel sorry? No, come. That country's history. No one thinks like that. So this is us. But what do we do with it? You know what we do? This is what we do. Again, some of you guys don't understand. A crash call, patient over there, he's dying, and you're a medical student, you turn up. What do? What does a medical student do at a crash call? Huh? Beyond watching. If you want to be really helpful, grab the bottle, the blood samples and rush them to the lab. Be a human transport, just transport them, label the blood bottles. At least you're there, you're doing something, you're labeling it, right? Imagine if you were the consultant anesthetist and you turned up, grabbed that blood bottle and you started labeling away like your life depended on it. Labeling, and you're like, I'll take that blood bottle up to the lab. You'll be struck off, right? You'll be in the newspaper, consultant anesthetist rushing blood bottles up. Why is this struck? You know why? Why? Because the amount of knowledge he has, or she has, the training and experience that he or she has, they should have stood at the front of that bed. They were the most experienced people to stand at the front of that bed and to lead that trauma call because the patient's life depended on it. And you shirked your responsibility and you stood at the foot of the bed and you did a little bit here and there and you walked away. That patient's family can sue you. And you'd be a disgrace to your profession. This is us, Muslim medics today. Islam is the patient. The Muslim world is a patient. And it is in, asystole. And we are the consultant anesthetists who are very happy to stand right at the corner and watch it happen and maybe label a few blood bubbles if we get a chance. And then curse everyone else to say, why don't they do it? Why don't the scholars get on with it? Why are the scholars sorting our problems out? Where are the leaders? Guess what, guys? We're the leaders. No one else is. Who else would be a leader for the Muslim world? Who else should be the leaders of the Muslim world? Do we expect those people who don't have education? The three things, literally three things. If you have a full brain, a full stomach, and a full heart full of iman, how many Muslims have that? How many Muslims do not want for food? The necessities. If the guy is hungry and he's starving, what's he going to do? He's not going to do very much. He's going to, first things first, he needs to get food in his stomach, right? Education, full brain. If the guy never had opportunities, his brain doesn't think that far, right? He never imagined it. The first president of India, when the people went to his mother and said, you know, congratulations, your son is the first president of India. She said, really? Because, yeah, what? He's not a police officer, is he? Because she was so uneducated. She lived in a village. The biggest thing that she could imagine was a police officer. She doesn't know what a president is. She has no idea what a president is. I wish he was a police officer, though. That would be amazing. So how many people have that intellect that we do? That we can see things, put them together, prioritize, we can communicate with individuals and different people. How many people have that? And finally, iman. How many people have faith in their heart? If you score 3 out of 3, then you are not just the top 1%. You are the top 0.0000001% of this Muslim ummah. And you have a responsibility. And that responsibility is to save it, because it's dying. It's dying in front of you. It's dying of sexism, of racism, of illiteracy, of oppression from within and from without. Every single thing is destroying this person, this poor Muslim world, and the Muslim world is looking for leaders, not for followers, not scholars. The scholars were never leaders of the Muslim world. That has never been the case. Never. The leaders are the educated people like you and me. So, what are you going to do? Are you going to sit back? Are you going to watch the patient die? Or are you going to get up and do something? Are you going to take responsibility and be more than a medic? Because we have many medics. And this is good and it's noble, but we have many. And we don't need medics. I didn't come here to encourage you guys to be medics. You guys are already medics. You'll be medics, inshallah. And it makes absolutely no difference to me whatsoever whether you become amazing medic or not. But if you're a good Muslim medic, that's something different. Because you might help fix this ummah. You might help be part of the solution rather than just being part of the problem. That's why you need to be more than just a medic. We need people to think laterally. You know, nice guidelines. If we think about it for 2 seconds, the things that come intrinsically to us as medics just don't happen in the Muslim world. Nice guidelines, what do? What they do is make sure that if you have a heart attack in Glasgow, or you have a heart attack just right here down the road, you'll be treated the same, right? In the old days, it was like, you turn up in Glasgow, they're like, give him iron brew and 2 aspirin, and tell him to go away. No Scots, right? Good. And if you were here, they might give you cutting-edge technology. Nice guidelines means everyone gets the same. You have total confidence that wherever you go, you will get the same evidence-based treatment. Why don't we have nice guidelines for masjids? Why don't we have nice guidelines for Muslim organizations? There's some annual reports and which are doing X, Y, Z, and there are other masjids which are basically just falling apart. Why? No standardization. Where's our evidence base for anything? Doesn't exist. Where's our prioritization exercises where we would prioritize the difficulties of the Muslim Ummah? Doesn't happen. We have so much that we can offer to our Ummah, but we choose not to. So my brothers and sisters, I'll finish there. This faith has been reached us by people who have sacrificed a hell of a lot for it to get to us. A lot. I was just reading, I'll just say it right now, about two brothers, Maulana Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali Johar. And these two brothers, they were very educated. They went to one of the top universities in India. And they also were learning Islamic sciences, very much like you read about their early life, and it was just like us. Religious at university, going to a normal university, but also religious, and they were going learning other Islamic education as well on the side. But then they decided, you know what, the Muslim Ummah needs me. And then they started to work, and at that time the Ottoman Empire was collapsing. So they decided to work in India to try and save the Ottoman Empire. And they went from town to town, village to village. My grandfather said that he remembers his mother. We live in a village, middle of nowhere. You know, even I can't get there. It's so far out in the middle of nowhere. And they said that their sister turned up, gave a talk to all the illiterate women in the village. We must save Turkey. Turkey is the last Muslim country on earth. It's the last country on the planet, Muslim planet, that was not colonized. We must save it. We must work together to save the Sultan of Turkey, to save the Khalifa. And she was talking to all the illiterate women, and she took off her hijab and she put it on the floor. And all the women gave all their gold. They just gave the gold, and they just gave whatever they could to help. These two people, they worked tirelessly. When the Allies, because the Ottoman Empire was defeated, when they were toying with the idea of entering Mecca and Medina, Maulana Muhammad Ali Johar said to the British envoy in India, he said that if you dare get one step outside of Jeddah, we will turn India, we'll burn India to the ground. Every Muslim in India will rise up. You cannot dare to come anywhere close to it. And they just said, you know what, we don't need the headache. Those two, they could have a brilliant career as lawyers. But Maulana Muhammad Ali Johar, his little daughter became sick, and he didn't have the money to take her to a doctor. So she died. And he himself, he came to London for a conference, and when he realized that he wasn't going to get independence from the country, he said, he made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said, I don't want to go home to die as a slave. So he died on the ship on the way home, and he was buried in Masjid al-Aqsa. His brother, Shaukat Ali Johar, became a farmer, just so that he could feed his grandchildren who were orphaned anyway. Both of them died in poverty. These are just two people. But the reason we're Muslim today is because people like that existed. They were willing to get up, move out of their comfort zone, and to work hard so that we could be Muslim today, so that we have something to build upon. We have everything they didn't have. We have access to WhatsApp. Believe me, if you imagine what we could do, you look at WhatsApp and we use it to send lol and memes and whatever. They would have changed the face of the world if they had that. We can pick up a phone and speak to someone in America or Australia and get something moving. If they could do that, the world would be a different place. Brothers and sisters, why should you be more than just a minute? Islam is dying, and it needs the leaders of the Muslim Ummah. It needs you to be the leaders, to stand in the front of the bed and to lead our brothers and sisters to find a solution out of our current predicament. You can do it. You have that possibility. You don't be Bruce Wayne. We have far too many Bruce Waynes. Put on the bat suit and save the world. Jazakumullah khair.
So, Jazakallah, Dr. Akhter, and all the other three speakers. I really can't thank you enough for coming, taking the time out from your work to prepare all the slides and the presentations and everything you have. I'm sure most of us will be very, very grateful for all the guidance, the advice, and the inspirational talks that you've given. So that's the end. I think some of these guys will most of them going to be hanging around for the next 10, 15 minutes. Oh, there's a question at the top.
Just a really quick question.
Mhm.
Just finding the speakers really so just like wondering if you've got any advice for taking a gap year sort of following graduating after third year, so travel and like deciding for exams.
Is that directed to someone, or
No, anyone really.
does anyone have any advice on taking gap years, or taking a year out and deciding on careers? Has anyone done that, or?
I can't say I've done that, but I can say that I don't think it makes any difference to your career prospects anyway. So I think, because I know some people who have taken time out straight after graduating and it didn't really affect them in any way. You know, they went into foundation training and that was all. So it is.
Any other feedback from the sister speakers about taking time out, whether that helped the career decision?
I think I'm too far gone from F1 year and knowing what the procedures and processes are, so you're best placed to actually find people who've been through that experience. I couldn't say for sure if taking a gap year was going to be an impediment to getting onto your career pathway. I can't really see that it would be, but you need to research it with people who are actually in it or around that time and see what impact it has. Go into it informed and knowing what the consequences are. I'd love to say it sounds like a good idea and do it, but I wouldn't have done it at that time.
Are there any sort of generic questions which sort of everyone would benefit from? If anyone wants to ask them now. Otherwise, we'll just call it there, and then anyone wants to approach any of the speakers, I think most of them are happy to be approached. Yeah, no other question?
I wanted to direct this one at Dr. Yusuf. You know the point of Mushwara, I was just thinking, I've got certain ideas about what I want to do and where I want to direct myself, and then mostly it's sort of in line with my family's sort of will and aspiration. So is that, so for example, I think the GP sort of career suits me, but my dad is more into the whole surgery, so and I do want to take their sort of stuff into consideration. So is that a good example of where you sit down and have that sort of discourse with them?
When it comes to mashwara, it's always nice to take everyone with you along with whatever you're doing. So whether it's your close family, your parents, or your partner, wife, or whatever. But then it's your career, so you have to understand what you're about for, and you need to be able to explain that to your family. They may have other aspirations for you and other hopes, ambitions for you, but if you feel that you can't do so, you also have to be true to yourself and to your patients ultimately.
Anything else?
Just on the point of taking a year out, so most people after foundation training usually take an F3 year where you can locum and just find yourself and stuff.
No, I'm actually a dental student, so
Oh, right.
A for effort.
The whole career thing.
Anyone else have any questions? Because otherwise, I think we'll call it there. If anyone wants to speak to the speakers, I think they'll be more than happy to. Jazakallah khair for attending, and yeah.